It's almost that time of year, E3, or Summer Game Fest, whatever we're calling it now. The one time of year, or one of like 3 times of year, if you count Gamescom and the Game Awards, where we get a flurry of announcements ranging from indie developers showing off their debut projects to the next entries in some of the biggest franchises in gaming. Ahead of this year's conference season, there's one topic we need to talk about. Release dates. Now, there are some release dates that are all but guaranteed before the games themselves are even officially announced. Madden is going to release in August. EA Sports FC is going to release in September. Call of Duty's probably coming out in November, sometimes October, but normally November. These franchises launch like clockwork and set the foundation for annualized releases every single year. When it comes to the games with releases that aren't set in stone, the meat and potatoes of the gaming industry, that's where things have gotten weird. The problem with release dates for most modern games is that you just can't believe them. As games have become larger, the development work that goes into them has become more complex. Couple that with a pandemic, shifting to remote work, shifting back to in-office work, and you've got a recipe for some high-profile delays. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was originally planned for release in summer 2023, and it was pushed all the way to February 2024. Helldivers 2 was delayed from 2023 to 2024. Even a console seller like Halo Infinite saw a 13-month delay at the beginning of Xbox's latest console generation, pushing it from November 2020 all the way to December 2021. Obviously, these 3 games have a pretty wide range when it comes to reception and why they were delayed to begin with, but they illustrate that delays are hitting everything from breakout indie or AA hits to AAA flops. Delays are a necessary part of the industry to make sure the games don't launch in a fundamentally broken state. Helldivers 2 had server issues at launch because of how successful it was, but it's a fundamentally good functional game. But these standard delays, the ones we typically see, paint one part of the picture. You've also got the games that just exist in a constant state of flux, where players are not only wondering when they're coming out, but if they still exist at all. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was announced all the way back in 2008. It re-emerged in 2017 as a prequel to the original game and even got a weird presentation in 2018 where Joseph Gordon-Levitt tried to convince people they should just add their own music and art to the game instead of relying on Ubisoft to make it. Since then, we've heard nothing about Beyond Good and Evil 2. But it's out there, existing in development purgatory. The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake has found itself in a similar spot. Rumors were flying that it had been canceled, then that it hadn't been canceled, then that it might have been canceled again, and now the update is finally that it's back in the hands of Saber Interactive after their split from Embracer Group. I have no idea how that game survived. The game's development continues on, but 3 years after its official announcement, we have no idea what state the game is in, if it's playable, or really what type of game it will even end up being if it comes out. Occasionally, a game will make it out of this never-ending cycle of delays. Skull and Bones was in development for more than 10 years, starting off as a spin-off of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and evolving through the years to become a standalone pirate sailing RPG. Even after all those years in development hell, the final game is fine at best and disappointing at its worst. The longer a game is in development after it's been announced, the higher players' expectations become, and the higher the stakes become for the developers to stick the landing. The gaming industry is facing a hype epidemic, where games are announced years before they're actually ready to be shown. Pragmata, Wonder Woman, The Division Heartland, Star Wars Eclipse, these are all games that we've known about for years that we haven't gotten any true tangible updates on to give people an idea of when they could actually get their hands on them. The biggest example of this is The Elder Scrolls 6, the follow-up to one of the biggest and most successful games in history. This game was announced all the way back in 2018. That's 6 years ago. Considering that Starfield is still fresh out of development in the grand scheme of things, and the team is still working on DLC and additional fixes, it's safe to assume that full-fledged development on Elder Scrolls is probably just now getting underway. That's a 2026 game at best, but more than likely won't see the light of a console until 2027 or 2028. There's no doubt the developers have the best of intentions when they're trying to put together an announcement trailer to get fans excited. I mean, who wouldn't like seeing the excitement from fans for a project that they're working on? But we've got to get back to a point where a game is shown off when it's ready for release within 6 months of the trailer first being shown off, regardless of how big or small the game might be. Fallout 4 is a game that handled that timeline perfectly. It was shown off in June 2015 during Bethesda's E3 press conference, and it was ready on store shelves in November 2015, roughly 5 months after players first found out that it was coming. The debut trailer was a sensation. The hype lasted through the summer, and Bethesda delivered the goods in November. There were no rumors of cancellation, no social media graphics announcing delays, no statements from the studio head on the state of the game. It was announced, the marketing machine went to work, and the game launched the following fall. But things could be turning around. While Star Wars Outlaws might be at the heart of some controversy right now surrounding its price and pending quality, even Ubisoft is getting closer to meeting fans with a realistic expectation of a release date. The game was shown off during Xbox's June 2023 showcase and is currently aiming for an August 2024 release date, which admittedly could totally change. Even that timeline between announcement and launch is a little bit too long, but it's getting closer to being a reasonable wait. Now, I'm not trying to say that we should be outraged by delays and demand that games come out within a specific window regardless of whether or not they're actually ready. Extend your development pipeline, keep polishing your game, and push out your launch date 10 different times if you have to. Just don't let me know that the game exists until you're truly confidently ready for me to know about it. It's better for players to not be waiting with high hopes for years on end, and it's better for developers to not have to deal with the pressure of those hopes constantly upping the expectations for their project. But let me know what you think down below. Have shifting release dates gotten out of hand, or are long development timelines with delays just a part of the new normal? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, if you're new here and you like what you see or what you hear, hit that subscribe button to get videos like this every week and gaming news shorts throughout the week to keep you in the loop. And I'll catch you on the next one.